Dear friends, welcome to our new video. If you are not subscribed the channel, please hit subscribe button and activate the bell button. In this video, we will talk about body management. Making the body's components perform their functions. A specific job must be completed by each and every one of the body's hundreds of organs, and it must be completed at the appropriate time. There is a primary manager, represented by the brain, and an assisting manager, represented by the spinal cord, who collaborate to ensure that everyone contributes when it is needed. There are millions of tiny threads connecting the two managers to every part of the body, and each thread transmits one message. These fibers are responsible for the formation of nerves. The human mind. The brain is a mushy mass that takes up most of the space inside the skull's interior. The skull's bones are about 1/4 of an inch thick, and they serve to protect the brain from regular impacts. It is protected by 3 layers of armor, each of which helps to keep it safe from harm. The surface of the brain is highly irregular. Several folds are separated by grooves, and there are many of them. Some of these go deeper than an inch into the ground. The different parts of the brain that are involved. Each of the 3 major sections of the brain has its own function. The big brain, also known as the cerebrum, is the largest and most prominent section of the brain located at the top of the skull. The cerebellum, a small part of the brain that is located at the base of the brain, is one of the most important parts of the brain. This is the component of the brain that is located beneath the small brain and is circular in shape, similar to a thumb. It is responsible for connecting the major portions of the brain to the spinal cord. A deep cut known as a fissure divides the large brain in half, resulting in 2 distinct halves. Both halves of the globe are divided into 2 hemispheres. The color gray represents the outer layer of the brain. It is composed of millions of small matter lumps, each of which contains a nerve cell body. Those areas of the brain and spinal cord are connected to one another by threads that are much finer than hairs. Similar to how we communicate over a telephone wire, one cell can communicate with another through the use of nerve fibers in the same way. A person's spinal cord is the most important structure in his or her body. An axon is a bundle of nerve tissue that is about the size of a thumbnail. In humans, it runs from the brain stem to a canal in their backbone. The outer layer of the spinal cord is white because it is composed of microscopic threads known as nerve fibers, which are found throughout the body. As a result of the inner half's composition of nerve cell bodies, it appears gray in color. The fibers are threads that branch out from the cells in the spinal cord and brain, and they are responsible for movement. Fibers of the nervous system, also known as message carriers. This network of microscopic threads, referred to as nerve fibers, extends from the managers to all parts of the body, allowing them to transmit information. The fibers of the nerve are often bundled together into a single white cord, which is known as a nerve in many instances. The underside of the brain is connected to 12 pairs of nerves, whereas the spinal cord is connected to 31 pairs on the other side of the brain. In addition to reaching all parts of the head and neck, 1 pair of nerves travel all the way down to the lungs, heart, and stomach to provide information to these organs. There are numerous branches of nerves that branch out in all directions from the spinal cord, connecting it to the various muscles, bones, and skin tissues of the arms, trunk, and legs. What the nerves do and how they do it are both explained. With the help of a telephone wire, we can send a message in either direction. Along a nerve, a message can only travel in one direction at a time. There must therefore be 2 distinct types of nerves as a result of this. One type of nerve is referred to as a sending nerve because it is used by the brain and spinal cord to send commands to the organs. When the other type of message is sent to the brain, it is from sense organs such as the sense of sight or hearing, the sense of touch, and other sense organs, informing the brain of how they are feeling. It is for this reason that receiving nerves are so named. We can catch a ball by sending a signal from our brain down the nerve threads of the spinal cord and out through the nerves of the arm, which then instructs the fingers to prepare for the catch. The fingers stretch in order to grasp the ball, but they do not close until a signal is received from the skin of the fingertips to the spinal cord informing it that the ball has been grasped by the fingers. The function of the brain. Although the brain is the chief manager of the body, it is also the residence of the mind. The brain is the location where the mind operates. Essentially, the brain receives information from the senses of sight, hearing, odor, touch, and feeling through its neurons. All of this information is stored in the mind, which is referred to as memory in the scientific community. The mind mulls over this information, as well as other information that has come to light later. This is referred to as the process of thinking. The mind is in command, and whether or not it contains good or evil thoughts determines whether or not the situation is favorable or disastrous. Taking part in robberies and murders in books and periodicals, as well as telling or listening to unpleasant stories, is detrimental because it instills evil thoughts in the mind. Filling one's mind with positive thoughts is the most effective method of keeping undesirable thoughts at bay. Some claim that Lincoln was preoccupied with how he could help others, that he had no time for worrying about his own shortcomings. A positive attitude can be developed over time through small acts of kindness performed on a daily basis. Habits. Habit is defined as the repetition of a task until the body goes through the same motions without thinking about it or with only a minimal amount of consideration. Following repeated exposure to the same mental command, the brain and nerves become accustomed to carrying out these commands even when the mind is no longer providing them. In some cases, even when new orders are provided, they will continue to be followed by the previous orders. The desire to stop drinking beer or liquor, chewing tobacco, or using foul language is common among people. However, many people find it difficult to control their body's actions because they have allowed their nerves to rule them for so long. In our youth, we should cultivate desirable habits such as greeting others with enthusiasm, saying kind words to our friends, and dressing in a manner that is both attractive and appropriate. They not only help to improve one's mental state, but they also help one's physical health and will pave the way for one's future achievements. Neither a grumpy cashier nor a grumpy housekeeper are liked by anyone. Parts of the body can function independently of brain commands in certain situations. It does not matter whether a snake's brain is crushed or not, a chicken with its head chopped off will jump around. The spinal cord sends commands to the muscles that cause these movements. When the hand or foot is injured, the spinal cord sends commands to the muscles to move the limb away even before we are aware of any pain in the brain. Numerous repetitive actions of the body may be controlled by the spinal cord, allowing the brain to focus on other tasks. In recognition of its contributions, the spinal cord is referred to as the helpful manager. The action of the muscles in the walls of blood vessels, as well as the functioning of the stomach, liver, pancreas, and other glands, is controlled by the sympathetic nerves rather than the brain. These run from a small cable on either side of the backbone to every part of the body, causing organs such as the heart and sweat glands, which we can't make obey our commands, to perform their functions as if they were under our control. Nerve damage is a common occurrence in the workplace. Because nerves are so important to the body's health, all of the major ones are buried deep within the flesh, where they are less likely to be damaged or destroyed. If the nerves that supply the arm were severed, the arm would be immobile and we would lose feeling in it. When a section of the brain, spinal cord, or nerves is injured, it is possible to lose feeling or motion in a leg, arm, or other part of the body. This is known as paresthesia. It is said that a component has been paralyzed when it appears to be asleep or dead. When you apply pressure to a nerve, it ceases to function. The foot will go to sleep if you sit in such a way that the nerve in the leg is compressed. An abnormal blood clot may form when a blood vessel in the brain ruptures, pressing against the nerves that control the arm or leg. It is possible that this pressure will result in paralysis. The brain is taking a break. When there is no food in the stomach, the body has more time to relax. When we sit or lie down, our muscles become more relaxed. The brain is constantly active, with the exception of when we sleep. Nobody can survive for more than a week without sleeping. If a dog is kept awake for more than 5 days, it will die. Children have a significantly greater need for sleep than adults. To maintain their health, working men and women should get approximately 8 hours of sleep per night. Children between the ages of 12 and 10 should sleep 9 hours per day, 7 and 8-year-olds should sleep 11 hours per day, and 4 and 5-year-olds should sleep 12 hours per day. How to get the most out of your sleep? Every night, you should go to bed at approximately the same time. You should do this immediately after getting into bed because it will help you fall asleep more quickly. Instead of sleeping in the clothes you wore during the day, hang them up to dry and change into a night robe to sleep in. Children should use a very low cushion in order for their bodies to be able to lie completely flat in bed. This allows the lungs and heart to continue to function as they should. Do not lie down on your back because this places pressure on specific nerves, causing you to dream about things. Open windows allow for the most beneficial use of fresh air for rest and wellness, and they also help to keep tuberculosis at bay. If you liked the video, press like and have a look on the references in the description box.